You Don't Know Ball, episode 4 now, and we just had an insane first full Saturday of college football. Very exciting games. We're going to get into the biggest three right now. We got Ohio State, Texas, and that's what we're going to start with. It was a pretty poor performance from Arch Manning, to say the least, and Ohio State ended up getting the victory. It was a good defensive showing from both sides. We're going to talk about a little bit more in detail, but Jack, I want to get your first initial reaction to this game.
Yeah, so to start, I thought Arch Manning, he looked discombobulated in the pocket. He looked like he hasn't played a football game before. I know we talked about those videos of his high school competition. Those
Mhm.
are some funny tweets going around, but 17 for 30, 170 yards, one's touchdown, one interception. Listen, do I think Arch Manning's screwed? Is he done? No. I think he's a stud. I think he can deliver later in the season. I just think this was a big wake-up call for him in that Texas offense. How about you, man?
Big wake up call. I do think if there's any time to buy Arch Manning stock, it is right now. Okay, the dude is talented. He had a pretty tough on the road performance. It was hard to expect this offense to click out of the gates. They're bringing in a whole new offensive line, whole new faces in the receiver room, and all of the hype that was built around Arch, like it was tremendous. So for him, with all that pressure in a hostile environment in Columbus, it was hard to expect him to really put on a strong performance. And he was simply out of rhythm. All right, he started to pick up a little bit towards the end of the game. But that was to me, that was only because they were playing behind. All right. I
Mhm.
think when we look at Arch Manning's performance, it set the tone on the first play of the game when he comes out on a rollout pass and misfires to a wide open out route. You can't, like, that set the tone. You can't really miss that. And he was missing simple crossing routes. Like, these weren't extremely tough throws to make. There was a 3rd and 5 throw to Ryan Wingo at the end of the game. He had him wide open and he misfires. He had so much open space. I think that Texas honestly could score a touchdown on that and maybe tie the game if he makes the right throw there. He also had one in the red zone too, a quick crossing route. Like you can't miss those. And to me, it just showed that he looked almost scared. He looked nervous. And this Ohio State line was putting the Ohio State front was putting the pressure on him, no doubt. And of course, the interception was no excuse there. You can't make that throw in a double coverage. But with that, it just shows that he was just nervous. He was forcing throws into it where it shouldn't be thrown. And it was just a tough performance for him. Going on the other side of the ball, Julian Sain straight out outplayed him.
Yeah.
Straight up outplayed Arch Manning, Julian Sain. The stat line for Julian doesn't show the full story. I think if you look right now, he has 126 yards,
Yeah.
but he was asked not to do much. He would let your elite, he was asked to let his elite weapons do the work for him, and that's exactly what he did. I
Yeah.
was really impressed with his accuracy, especially if you look on like that 4th down throw. I know the announcers were ripping him for not hitting Jeremiah Smith on the deep ball, but that
Yeah.
throw was right in his hands. In fact, his best the other day was also a drop. It was by Brandon Innes. He put a deep ball fade right down the sideline, right in the bucket. Great throw, dropped. Jeremiah Smith also dropped 2 passes towards him on the second drive too.
Yeah.
Like if he catches those, his stats are looking a little bit better. But again, Julian Sand managed this game very well. Didn't turn the ball over. And the thing that was different between him and Arch Manning was that when there was pressure in his face, he made the throws. He had a 3rd down in his end zone. Guy coming right up to his face. He has the arm strength to get it to Carnell Tate for the 1st down. That was impressive. Very impressive. I think Julian's saying one of the biggest takeaways. I know everyone's going to talk about Arch, but the biggest takeaway is that he showed that Ohio State offense is going to be reckoned with, and there is no problems with them moving the football this year.
Yeah, man. Julian saying, not a household name, could be a household name now. I know Will Howard speaks very highly of him, that old Ohio State quarterback. I think this Ohio State team could win it all again and go back to back. I know Ryan Day was talking a lot with Nick Saban before the game, like what it means to have a target on your back now, coming off a national championship. I think they proved they're here to stay. Like that was a crazy home win. That's as good as a football game as you could have played against the number one team in the nation.
Crazy home win. All the talk was about how it's going to be a championship hangover, new coordinators, all of that. And to show out like this against the number one ranked team in the country, that Texas defense was no joke. I mean, people were saying that they have the best secondary. Their
Yeah.
front is very good, but they still, I wouldn't say they dominated, but they got it done at home. I would
Yeah.
agree with you 100% that
Winners win.
this is the number one team in the country. This is the team to beat. And yeah, props to Ryan Day, man. He's getting his boys ready. And I think I saw there was a talk about winning championship coaches. It's more when coaches win the championship, people are telling, "Oh, congrats, you won the championship." But you won the championship, so now it's even harder to keep up and maintain that same high expectations. And Ryan Day is doing a good job, and he got it done on week 1. So I was very impressed by that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That game definitely lived up to the hype. I know over bettors are pissed, but
Hmm.
let's move into this Alabama FSU game. Lee Corso's super dog of the day was FSU. He was getting a lot of backlash for that. He was the only person to have FSU to beat Bama. What does that mean for Lee Corso's legacy? What does that mean as his last first pick? I thought it was awesome. I think it was like a fairy tale ending to Lee Corso's amazing career. But
Hmm.
despite the loss, I think Ty Simpson showed some flashes of being a good quarterback. I don't think he's that Heisman caliber quarterback, but I know we have a friend who's huge on Ty Simpson. I think Jeremy Bernard looked great. He had 8 catches for 146 yards. I don't know though. Tommy Castellanos really stood up for what he said about himself and for what he said about Bama and Saban.
Talking all that shit. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was one of the most toughest performances I've seen from Alabama football. This is not what you expect from a team that has this amount of highly ranked recruits to just show out like that. Like Florida State just looked like the better athletes. Alabama looked like they didn't even want to be there. There was no fire. I know it was rainy conditions, and they looked like they were already thinking about what was for dinner. Like Kalen DeBoer, if you looked at the clips that they showed on the sidelines with him, he looked like he had no fucking clue what was going on. Like
Yeah.
all of these guys, you had a 9-4 season last year. How are you not coming out of this pissed off, wanting to make a statement? This team looks unmotivated completely. Ty Simpson, like you just mentioned, he may have had a good game, but he was getting bullied by this D line. I don't know where Ryan Williams, this superstar wide receiver, was. He had 30 yards. I get it's the jitters from the first game, but if you're supposed to be this top level player, how are you not making plays? Because this whole team looks like they did not want to be there. And this is on the coaching staff. Okay, on the coaching staff, Kalen DeBoer failed to prepare this team well, and he should be mailing checks to Michael Penix every week because he's the reason that he got that job in Alabama. I cannot believe this. I would be interested to see what Nick Saban's true thoughts are. I know when we look at him on game day, he's going to try to be the political wise, but I want to see what his true thoughts are on this team because this is not Alabama football. This is not Alabama football at all. And I don't know. Am I overreacting with this? Is Kalen DeBoer really this bad? Or does this just show how good of a coach Nick Saban was when he was there?
I don't know, man. If you look at Alabama right now, all we're seeing is the shadow of Nick Saban's greatness. Like 15 years, this guy built a machine, a recruiting pipeline, a culture of accountability. Like this was a standard where a down year even competes for a title. Like
Mhm.
that kind of consistency is almost unheard of in modern college football, especially now in the NIL era. Like Nick Saban coached before the NIL era, where he had a dynasty. I think the NIL era really opened things up. More teams can compete now. I think as far as Kalen DeBoer, I wouldn't say he's a bum. I think he's a proven coach. He's coming off a national championship game. I know he lost, but at Washington, like he's got the X's and O's chops. Like I don't know. He walked into the toughest job in America. Like those are some big shoes to fill. I don't know. I think we got to give him some more time, obviously. Expectations aren't just high, but they're unrealistic. And I think he's walking to like big shoes to fill, and I think he could be good, but I'm not totally sure yet.
I like that you mentioned that because you're right. Alabama being the head coach, you are under a microscope like no other. Those Alabama fans are ruthless. And it just goes to shows I don't know if he's really prepared to be the head coach of Alabama because I don't know if we should give him more time. He had a 9-4 season last year, didn't make the playoffs with all of the talent that they had. And to come out and lose to a Florida State team that just went 2-10, that is brutal. You cannot have that happen being the head coach in Alabama with all the talent you have. Can't have it happen. As we look towards the Florida State side, again, Tommy Castellanos, man, he really did talk that shit and he backed it up. I was really impressed with just the flow to his game. New offensive coordinator for Florida State, Gus Malzahn, had complete misdirection. Alabama had no idea what they were running with all the misdirections and motions that they were running. It was incredible masterclass performance, especially from Malzahn being at Auburn, being on the losing end of this rivalry versus Alabama for a huge chunk of his career. But to come out and bring Florida State offense back to par, that is what you love to see if you're a Seminole fan. Florida State, ACC. I mean, the ACC, when we talk about it, they are really flipping the script here, competing with the SEC. But let me tell you, Florida State, they got 3 cakewalk games the next 3 weeks, and then they're going to play week 5 versus Miami. And man, that is going to be a show because I think Florida State, the way this defense just came out, the way they looked just on fire. on fire on defense. They were flying around. I think that they can compete up there with the Miami, teams like Miami and Clemson. And man, that stadium too in Tallahassee, they were rocking. Those
They were
fans seem like they
rocking.
are
That was
into it
awesome.
now. Awesome.
Mean, they were having such a good time the entire game. I think Tommy Castellanos really proved to us that he's that guy. I know
Mhm.
he was good at BC. He had a lot more to prove, but man, 9 for 14, 152 yards, 16 carries on the ground, 78 yards and a touchdown. Like
Mhm.
he just all aspects of the game, like this guy really proved it all. I think he was not only efficient on through the air, but on the ground. I think it was an awesome game for him.
Yeah, if you go back and look at that third 11 deep ball he had to Squirrel White, that was a amazing throw. Flipped the whole momentum of the
Yeah.
game because at that point it was what? It was I think they were down 7, third and 11 ball. If they don't convert it there, all right, Alabama's getting the ball back and they have all the momentum. But for them to throw that huge deep ball, huge completion, and then he goes up and Castellanos runs in for the touchdown, that flipped. They never looked back from there. And that right there was the play of the game to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, it
But
was when the lights were the brightest. That's when Castellanos really stood up to the challenge, and I was very impressed by him.
yeah, he's going to be. I don't know if he did enough to be really considered in the Heisman talks. I know I've been seeing that on X a little bit, but
We'll see.
he's a name to watch, man. They do play Miami, like I said, and they play Clemson, so they're going to get two shots at the biggest ACC team. So it's going to be very exciting to see how they perform against them.
Yeah,
Um, but when we talk about the ACC and Clemson, all right, I know that you were very high on Cade Klubnik,
I
and I'm going to
was.
remind everyone that you said Cade Klubnik was your Heisman favorite coming in the year.
I know.
And
Oh
then
my
now he goes
God.
and drops a 31.4 QBR
Uh,
on the biggest stage at home versus LSU.
you
What do you think
can't
about
do
that?
it. You can't do it. Cade was 19 for 38, 230 yards because he was behind. One
Mhm.
interception, no touchdowns. I mean, it wasn't his day. He was at home. He looked rattled. Garrett Nussmeier looked unbelievable. Like he
Mhm.
looked unbelievable. Even those balls he was slinging, that one touchdown he threw. I know Wildcard made the video about that. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Dude,
Touchdown. I don't
ridiculous. So,
understand that. I don't
yeah,
understand that.
I got a different take on that. So, first of all, it was a very elite throw. That's a pro level throw. Insane placement from Nussmeier on that one. But honestly, I don't know if that really was a catch. All right. I think the rule is you got to complete the ball to the ground. It clearly hit the ground after he caught it. So I
Yeah,
know the announcers were ripping it, saying, "Oh, how is that not a catch?" But like, I kind of get it. I know it was a great throw, but I kind of get it in a way. I don't know if that necessarily was a touchdown. I know everyone's outrageous about it, but to me, I thought it hit the ground. I get why they did call it, but
yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
tough one for sure.
As a Clemson fan, I loved it. I loved every bit of it because the announcers didn't even know it was in the question. They're like, "Oh, is it a touchdown or is it on the one?" They didn't even think it was like a possibility that it was an incompletion. So
Yeah.
that was a crazy turn of events. I mean, Garrett, he was 28 for 38, 230 yards and a touchdown, just efficiency. That was the name of the game. Like he was taking hits, he was coming up with huge throws after. He flashed a lot of Baker to me, Baker Mayfield. What do you think about that? I saw a lot of Baker in him, the arm talent, the grittiness. He was awesome.
I love the comparison to Baker Mayfield. I mean, he looked like he just knew what he was doing. I think he's the best quarterback in college football, no doubt. He was going up against the best front in the nation and a top
Mhm.
five secondary in Clemson on the road. This was not an easy task, but he delivered like a lot. He is legit. I think when you look at his play, obviously the best throw he made was that overturned touchdown, but with the way he was getting on the run and moving, throwing cross body, he was also able to stand in the pocket and just deliver darts. Aaron Anderson had a great game for LSU. Really impressed by him. He's also one of the most explosive receivers in college football, and I think he showed that right on display. But things didn't start out easy for him, right? I mean, the first half,
No.
LSU really wasn't moving the football that well. But when you look at it in the second half, they came out, they made the adjustments, right? And this LSU defense, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, this LSU defense was putting this team on the back. And I think that Nussmeier realized that he's like, all right, shit, I got to go ball out. My defense is doing his job. So I got to step it up. And that's exactly what he did, especially in the fourth quarter. He made some very high level throws. Really impressed with him, especially being in that hostile environment. Like, you can't teach that, bro. Like, he's going to be a very top level draft pick. I think he's going to be the best first quarterback taken out of the draft this year, especially. I know he's a little bit older, but from a performance like that, he is the best quarterback in the nation right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the Heisman odds show that. I mean, Arch like went plummeted. I
Mhm.
know since Garrett beat Cade, Garrett's the front runner now. I mean, how about Lenore Sellers? I mean, I think he watches Clemson lose and he's like, he feels good.
Yeah,
Virginia
that's a good
Tech
point.
as we speak. I think he's a dog. I think I think next year is more Sellers' year. He's very young, but I think
Yeah.
that's a name to watch for sure.
Yeah, I know. I know South Carolina's playing right now as we're recording this, so I'm interested to see how Sellers does in his first game. But I want to get back to Klubnik real
Yeah.
quick, because I told you last week that I was not bought into him. And while I think this game was more of telling how good this LSU defense was, I am still yet to truly see him show out in a big game. This reminds me a lot about the Georgia opener last year. Klubnik, let me remind you, Klubnik is still yet to throw a single touchdown pass in a regular season game versus an SEC opponent. I have not seen him really ball out in these meaningful games. Not seen it. And this is setting up to be a classic. Oh, LSU gets boat race in the season opener, and then they start winning 9 in a row, sneak in the playoff, and get waxed. That is what's going to happen. I am not bought into Klubnik. But again, I think it also shows this LSU defense is legit. LSU just showed that they have the best defense in the country. I know some people will argue Ohio State, but I'm sorry. The way that they just completely eliminated this highly touted Clemson offense was special. Okay. Klubnik had a 31.4 QBR. The run game was held to 32 yards, 1.7 yards per carry. That's
Mhm.
elite. They were getting after it. The final step of the game told the entire story, just how fast they came off the ball. Harold Perkins came from the outside of the linebacker position to get up all into Klubnik and force it incompletion. Like Clemson just couldn't handle them. This LSU defense is legit. I think they have the best defense in the country, and that is a complete vintage Brian Baker performance. And props to Brian Kelly, man. He was getting all of the shit. 0-5 in his last LSU was 0-5 in the last five openers of the season, and he completely set the tone, flipped the tide. Like it is going to be fun to watch this LSU team this year. And honestly, I think that they should be easily top three team in the country.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I'm not a Brian Kelly believer, but he really shut me up this past weekend. And moving on, like about Cade and my Heisman pick,
Mhm.
it only gets worse for him, man. Like he does not have the schedule, the strength of schedule the rest of the year to really compete for that Heisman Trophy award. Like
No.
you look at the schedule, he plays Troy, he plays Georgia Tech, Syracuse. The next ranked game he plays is in 6 weeks,
Mhm.
SMU, and then he plays Florida State, and they're 17-point favorites right now.
Yeah.
And then he plays South Carolina in the season finale. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't look good for Cade Klubnik fans. I don't know, man. I don't see a world where he wins the Heisman Trophy.
No shot.
I don't see a world.
If Clemson ends up sneaking in the playoff, it's going to be because this defense is going to carry them. Klubnik's going to have
Absolutely.
some good games against these dog shit teams. Like he's going to rack up stats against them, but if they are going to take the next step, this defense is going to really honestly carry them. But I don't really see them beating a Miami right now. I don't really see it.
Yeah.
That game
Um,
against Florida State is going to be one to watch because that's going to be really
yeah.
telling. It's in Clemson. Okay, so that
Mhm.
one would be little towards their advantage because again, their defense is legit. But man, this offense, they got to flip the switch. But like again, hopefully they do. I know Dabo will probably have their guys getting going in practice starting this week. But man, they got to fix it fast. They got to fix it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. How about Bryce Underwood in his oh my gosh, in his first career start for Michigan?
Bro, Bryce Underwood
Unbelievable.
is the best quarterback to ever run through Ann Arbor. Best quarterback to ever run it through Ann Arbor. The way that the ball was coming out of his hands,
Dude, it
bro,
was a
it's like
laser.
laser, bro. It was teleporting to his receiver.
He's
Like
setting blocks. Like, are you kidding me?
setting blocks, dude.
This guy's
The thing,
awesome.
the thing is too, like Bryce Underwood didn't even run the ball. You were yet to truly see how versatile of an athlete
Oh
he
my
really is. I know
gosh.
he looks evasive in the pocket, but bro, when he starts running, it's game over. Michigan is going to be back in the playoff.
Oh my gosh.
Like
Oh my gosh.
there was one throw too, is on backed up in his own end zone. He had like a defender coming in his face, and there was two guys. He laid play action, lays it perfectly over the defenders into his tight end. Like it was a risky throw, but he just had perfect touch. And then he goes on and just throws a bullet later in the drive. Like, bro,
Yeah.
his arm talent is crazy. Like I thought JJ McCarthy was probably had the most insane arm talent that I've seen at Michigan, but to go
Yeah.
from McCarthy to Bryce Underwood, like Michigan has had a history. I know Brady went there, but Michigan has had a history of
Hmm.
not having really good throwers of the football in the program. But these two, JJ McCarthy and a Bryce Underwood, like that is a complete shift for Michigan history, and you got to be excited. Like, got to be
Yeah.
excited about that.
Listen, 21 for 31, 251 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. That
Mhm.
doesn't even scratch the surface on what this guy can do and what this guy did.
No.
He threw for almost more yards in the first half than Michigan's offense averaged in
Mhm.
the entire game for the entire season.
Right.
Like it just makes it was awesome to watch, and I can't wait to watch him play a real opponent.
Yeah, dude. Next week's
Sorry,
gonna
New
be a good
Mexico,
one.
but shout
Yeah,
out
I know.
Lobos, but
New Mexico honestly wasn't a bad team.
yeah,
I
no.
believe last year they were a winning football team. I think
Uh-huh.
that their only loss was Idaho or something like that. Could
Yeah,
be
I think
completely wrong on that.
that.
But they were a good team. I mean, next week we're going to see Michigan against Oklahoma. John Mateer, he's a Heisman favorite right now. So we're about to see them go head to head. That's going to be a good test to see just how good Bryce Underwood is. But I think Michigan gets it done in there. I really do.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. I was
I
very
also want to
impressed.
bring up a team also Utah. I don't know if you saw the Utah UCLA game
Okay.
last night,
Yeah.
but they just boat raced UCLA. Boat race. Nico Iamaleava just made his debut for UCLA, and it was not good at all.
Mhm.
I think the final score was 43-10.
And 43-10.
If you go and watch, and Utah is going to be a playoff team. Utah will be a playoff team. The way that you watch how good their offensive line is, they got a ton of NFL talent, including a potential top 10 pick, I believe. They have run it. UCLA has been a top 10 in UCLA run defense has been top 10 in the nation the past 2 years. And Utah just ran for 287 yards against them. Their running back, they got to do a running back that is a stud. And then Devin Dampier, Heisman dark horse right here. Heisman dark horse. He was putting the ball where it needed to be. And
Mhm.
if they're Utah's just going to be a ground and pound team, and he's going to work off play action. If you saw in the game for UCLA, he got on the move a lot, rollouts to his right, and he can throw the ball, man. He can sling it. He's a transfer in from New Mexico. Like this is going to be a sleeper team to watch. That was one of my takeaways from the late night game. But I'm excited to watch Utah.
Crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was legit. This Utah team reminded me of the 2021 Utah team.
Hmm.
Crazy. 3 touchdowns, 290 plus yards, 21 for 25. Like it was awesome. Devin, he showed out. Like he's legit, and now we all know. Now he's a household name. Let's see what he can do the rest of the season. See if he can get this team in the playoff.
I'm hyped for it, man. There was a ton of good football yesterday. We do have one more game by the time this podcast drops out. We got UNC TCU off the bat. Who you like?
Chapel Bill, baby. Come on.
Really?
All in on the hype. I'm all
I
in.
don't know, man. I don't know. The thing with me, so Belichick just named Gio Lopez the starting quarterback. He's a pretty good player, right? He can move the ball. I mean, they're going to run a lot of RPOs, get him moving for sure. But I don't know. TCU is a very good team. They were a handful of wins from being a 10-11 squad last year, and Josh Hoover at quarterback can absolutely sling it. I think they got a lot of playmakers. I know that, and the thing with Belichick with me is obviously he's a great football-minded coach, but he's got all of the outside just distractions coming in. I mean, if I'm playing for UNC right now and I'm going on X and everything I see is just Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend, like, how do you look at him as a head coach? Like, I know he's a respected guy, but like, in the locker room, like, these guys are kind of talking behind him saying, like, oh, dude, like, I just feel like there's a ton of distractions. And this UNC team brought in a ton of guys from the portal. Are they really going to be having that bond? Are they going to be clicking like that, especially in this first
Yeah.
game? I don't think so. I think UNC, there's a chance that they get absolutely waxed in this game.
Yeah, the line's tight. I don't really know. It's so hard to say. I know the first week's the hardest week, obviously. Like we haven't
Right.
seen these teams. It's a matter of will these teams click right away or
Hmm.
will these teams take a while to click? I think this Kansas State team is a team that's better at the end of the season. I think
Yeah.
that's a team that's better than Iowa State at the end of the season. But I think a well-coached team like UNC, this might be their peak. Like I
Yeah.
think they're prepared for this game more than this TCU team is because of the coaching.
Yeah. Could very well be true. I'm also, I feel like a common theme. I'm excited for this game, but I really am. It's going to be a fun one to watch. So that'll be a good one to tune into. But yeah, man, this has been a great episode. College football week one. Damn, I can't believe we're saying that. And it's only going to get up from here. But
Awesome.
yeah,
We got NFL next weekend. We got some more college football to go. I'm excited. This is going to be awesome.
gonna be a great time. Can't wait. Stay tuned for our NFL podcast coming next week.
Yes,
We're gonna be
sir.
going over a bunch of our picks there. But thank you guys as always for tuning in.
You don't know ball, but we do. Let's go.